Loners Stay Together, an original mystery by Robert Napier, Chapter 4. Roman lives just outside the other side of the next town over. Lived. Not that far. The lack of late-night traffic lets me get there in less than an hour. It's funny how you can live close to someone you're supposed to be close to, and yet you're not that close. As I drive, I reflect on the glints of information from the news report. The science teacher earlier bit was my paraphrasing. The newsies made it clear he was a professor at the university. Neuroscience. They neglected to mention he was suspended from his teaching position a month ago. For what? I'm not sure. That's one of many things I intend to find out. First things first. Later, I'll miss my brother. Later, I'll be sad. Right now, I'm too pissed off to be sad. I may not have been close to my brother, but that doesn't mean you can just shoot him and walk away with your balls. He lives in a worse shithole than me. A flattened, run-down, mid-century home. Lived. It sits on a barren lawn sans landscaping, atop a low hill overlooking a wooded gorge. The effect in moonlight is not overwhelming. The gravel crunches in the drive as my headlights illuminate the garage door. I reach into the box sitting next to me. I feel my gun. I hooked the holster on my belt behind me as I slid from the car. I shut the door quietly. There didn't seem to be any reason for anyone to be snooping around the house, but there didn't seem to be any reason to shoot my brother either. With my hand on the wood grip, I went to the front door. I cautiously turned the knob. It was unlocked. I couldn't be sure if that was strange. Roman was always casual about security, and these rural country types always left their doors unlocked. Right? Christ, I don't know. Does anyone do that anymore? Is anyone that naive? I had a flashlight in the car, but I didn't bring it. I like the dark. Darkness is an equalizer. I could only see the vague shape of things around the room. There were 2 curtainless windows across the way, allowing the moon to peek in. It was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and crickets around the porch. I immediately noticed a musty scent. I slid the revolver halfway from its sheath as I felt along the wall for a light switch. Found it. The overhead light came on. I was in the living room. Quickly scanning the room for human shapes, I soon relaxed. I seemed to be alone. I went from room to room, clearing each and turning on all the lights. Kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, garage. The house was heavily cluttered with crapola. There were shoes from decades past piled by the front door. There were carry-out containers, pizza boxes, plastic cups, and paper plates around the old sofa. The kitchen had dishes piled up alongside pots and pans. I'll not discuss the bathroom. One bedroom had a mattress on the floor and unmade sheets. The other bedroom served as an office of sorts, with a desk, swivel chair, several file cabinets, and handmade bookshelves on the wall. And there were books. Everywhere books. Rows, columns, stacks, piles, mounds, clusters, heaps, bundles, and boxes. Collections on shelves, sets in secondhand store handbags. I picked up a topmost tome. Old, crumbly. It was in German. I hate German. The prickly Gothic script prevented me from even guessing what it was about. There were dog-eared pages and highlights of various colors. The margins were black with notes. I set it down and grabbed another. It was in Italian. Something about genetics. There was scientific and laboratory equipment too. Metal boxes, cords, scales. I hate scales, flasks, funnels, and meters. A hot plate with a pot of week-old ramen noodles. Some goggles, and an empty box of latex gloves. I didn't know Roman was scientifically active, but at least he was using protection. Over the phone, he had said he kept detailed files. I assumed he meant about his potential killers. But when I looked in the file cabinets, all I found was old Christmas cards, maps of foreign capitals, coupons, envelopes, bills, sketches, blueprints, schematics, and instruction booklets for the appliances. I went back to the desk. There was a small monitor, a wireless keyboard, and optical mouse. That meant a computer was nearby. I was too tired to even try. If his house was so interesting, God only knows what was in there. I went through the house again, checking the closets. Then I went out back. Dark. It was settled. I was going to spend the night. I was definitely not going to sleep in Roman's bed, so that just left the couch. I found a blanket and covered the cushions. Lights out. Something was smothering me. It took several seconds to realize it wasn't a dream. I couldn't breathe. My body was hot. I reacted instinctively, lurching upwards, prepared to face my attacker. I felt the suffocating weight fall instantly from my chest and thud heavily on the floor. I bolted up, gasping for air, sweating. Fuck me, it was a cat. Roman's cat. Ernie, Ermin, Erwin. A tough-looking gray tabby. A tomcat probably, but the name was no real indication. Roman once had a striped lionfish named Spot. He stared at me quizzically, accusingly, then sauntered off. I hate cats. Okay, I don't hate cats, but that one nearly killed me, I think. Or saved me. Looking around the dark, unfamiliar room, I suddenly had the sense that something was amiss. You know the feeling. The floors creaked. Shadows moved on the walls. It made me very uncomfortable. I glanced down for my gun. I had gone to sleep with it beside me. Like an idiot, I had let it fall. Between the couch cushions. Keeping quiet, I fumbled through the blanket and the cracks until I found it. Doing great so far. I leveled the gun ahead of me, then crept through the room. The floor creaked with every step. Damn it. I froze when I heard a shuffle of papers from the office. Had I left a window open? Not likely. I stepped again. Damn it. The shuffling stopped. I waited. I was panting, my heart smashing. Why was I so scared? Did Roman have 2 cats? Fuck, I don't know. He could have a Rottweiler for all I knew. I heard the rustle again. I watched the shadows of tree branches, but no wind stirred them. Okay. I stepped again. Damn it. What was wrong with this floor? The noises stopped. Okay. Someone was here. They had to know I was here too. They would have seen my car. Possibly seen me on the sofa. That meant they were probably burglars. Someone who saw the story on the news and thought no one would be home. Or it was the murderer. Or murderers. Why hadn't they killed me in my sleep then? Maybe they had come in the office window and hadn't seen me yet. Maybe my brother's ghost had called out to others. Christ. It doesn't matter. I could set myself against a wall and hope they just left. But what if they know something? What if they're the killers? What if Roman had brought me here to catch them in the act? Was he that clever? Did he have that much confidence in me? Probably not. I wouldn't have counted on me. Hell with it. Now or never, bitch. Ignoring the floor, I bolted down the short hall and banged through the office door. I dropped low and prepared to fire. The room was dark, empty. I retracted a little, waited. I slowly began to exhale. There, a shadow moved. I aimed. It sprang through the towers of books, knocking them towards me like Godzilla in Tokyo. Stop! I shouted. An authoritative voice has a surprising power, but not this time. The figure vaulted over the desk and out the open window. I could have followed, but I didn't. You know, you're thinking fast at times like these. And my first thought was that the intruder might be fleeing, or he might be posted just outside the window waiting for me to awkwardly barrel through, giving him a chance to take me down. I retreated down the hall and loped for the front door. I even impressed myself with how fast I turned the deadbolt and pounced onto the porch. The intruder was gone. He had probably rounded the corner of the house towards the woods instead of running into the street. Again, this could give him a chance to ambush me, so I took a wide angle that slowed me down. I went all around the house like this, but he was gone. Shit. Knowing that he or they could shoot at me from the trees, I went quickly back inside. I locked the door again and shut the window. Likely they had entered from there, but how? I tried to remember if the window had been latched earlier. Christ, I thought it had been. I checked the other windows, and the closets again, leaving the doors open. I even tore down the shower curtain so no one could hide behind it like in that horror movie. I sat on the toilet lid and rubbed my forehead with my gun. The bathroom was small, the lights were brightest, and it was the most interior space with no windows. For the second time tonight, I found myself hiding on the porcelain shrine. Erwin rubbed his body against my legs. I didn't sleep. First thing in the morning, I called the local police. Because I wasn't sure where the murder had taken place or how the body was found, I couldn't be sure which law enforcement bureau would be handling the investigation. I called the state police department first. I was on hold a long time. I hate doing things over the phone. I'm not what you would call a sweet talker. I can fake it if I have to, but frankly, I wasn't in the mood. I always get better results in person. A matronly voice returned to tell me the county sheriff's department would be taking the lead on this one. Great. Cowboys. On whose authority? I asked. She answered curtly. We have a tradition of cooperation, ma'am. I was about to call the sheriff, but decided to drive down there myself. I wanted to get out of the house anyway. I got into the Trans Am and tucked the revolver back among the boxes, taking care to prop it up within reach. My mind on other things, I hastily backed out of the drive. A quick champagne vomit-colored reflection caught the corner of my eye, and I slammed on the brakes. A sheriff's car was pulling in behind me. I had narrowly avoided a collision, but maintained that it was not my fault. Our cars sat deadlocked for a moment before the patrol vehicle shut off the ignition, still partially in the street. The driver got out first. He was 30-ish, average height, broad shoulders, ex-military type. The passenger was a woman, early 20s, hard to see her as she entered my blind spot. They flanked me. I rolled down my window and turned off the engine. "Morning, miss," said the male officer with a genteel nod. "How are you doing?" "I'm fine. Can I help you?" "We were just driving by, saw your car there. Do you know whose house this is, miss?" "Yes." "All right. Would you mind stepping out of the car, please?" "Okay," I said. He moved aside as I swung open the door. "Do you have any identification?" My purse was between the seats. I was self-conscious about turning and reaching for it with him staring down on me, but had little choice. I grabbed the bag quickly and dug through its contents face to face. I explained, "Hi, I'm Cassie Loner. Roman Loner, the owner, is my brother." I handed him my ID. He tapped it in his hands but didn't really look at it. "Was he expecting you to visit, or had you spoken to him recently?" That was difficult to answer. He was expecting me and he had spoken to me. But had I spoken to him? No. I finally answered. For the first time, he looked over at his partner. She was still standing on the other side of the car. I turned also. The sun was behind her, so her face was dark. She wore reflective aviator glasses like Boss No Eyes. She raised an eyebrow and looked away. He handed me back the ID. "Oh? Okay. May we go inside?" "Be my guest." We went into the house. If the deputies were shocked by the mess, it didn't register on their faces. Treating them like clients, I automatically offered them coffee. "Don't mind at all if it's no trouble," said the deputy. Kind of like he was doing me a favor. Crap, I thought, as they followed me into the kitchen. There was no way I could sort out a cup of coffee from this mess. An awkwardly long time passed in silence while I fumbled and grumbled around the coffee maker. Stepping over an affectionate hermano, the female handed me the filters while I tried to find the plug. Finally taking pity on me, the male deputy said, "You know I went to school with Roman." "Really?" I laughed, a little flirtatious. I had a bad habit of liking men in uniform, a rather unfortunate weakness for an aspiring federal agent. But you know, I would need his cooperation down the road if I ran into trouble on the case. I had misjudged his age, apparently. His dark tan and laugh lines dignified him. Roman, let's see. Well, he's a few years older than me. What school did you go to? He asked, trying not to sound like a barfly. Oh, well, we moved out around the state, so... Sorry, what was your name? Deputy Dillon, miss. And this is Deputy Burr, County, Sheriff's Department. Deputy Burr had taken off her glasses, but her eyes were glassy still. I hardly had time to glance at her before Dillon recalled my attention. Yeah, where'd you guys move to? We traveled around a lot. Mom and Dad liked to move, but Roman always liked it here, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Listen, that's why we stopped you. Sorry about that. I'm afraid we got some bad news. I know, I said sharply. Roman's dead. Deputy Dillon noted my change of expression. He seemed like he might ask if I was the killer right then and there. So you know about that, huh? I saw it on the news last night. I knew right away it was Roman. Well, I'm sorry you had to find out that way. We can't really control the press and media so much these days. Especially when it's public like that. It's okay. I'm actually a private detective myself. I'd like to help out with the investigation. That may have sounded like a question, but it wasn't. Well, we sure appreciate that, miss. The miss sounded like a dismissal. But we got our own guys and everything conducting the investigation right now. I leaned toward him. You sure? God, I can be shameless. I must have looked really sexy after spending all night in the bathroom. Tell you one thing. We need someone to come by the medical examiner's office to identify the body, if you're up to it. Okay, sure, I can do that, and I'd like to take a look at the crime scene. We can give you a ride if you'd like. I smiled, innocent. His offer struck me as a disguised attempt to control me. Not likely, I thought. No, thank you, I said. Even though the car trip would have been a good opportunity to question them about the murder, I didn't want to be stranded God knows where relying on their timetable. And besides, Deputy Burr would probably curtail any attempt at conversation. She was icy as they come.
Hello, listener. My name is Robert Napier. I just wanted to say thank you for your support. If you enjoy this content or have suggestions on how to improve on it, please leave a like or comment. It would mean a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. Consider subscribing so you never miss an episode. Thank you.